There are a lot
There's
of people
lots of nerds
today.
here. If we have a fire in this building, everybody dies. All right. Going on into the upper right, we have our Terran player in the blue. Give it up for MVP. And going on into the bottom left, in the red, make some noise for VortiX. All right, Artosis, tell us about the map, because this map is very unique in the TVZ.
Well, you know, it's Antigua Shipyard. And you guys have probably heard this before if you've ever watched StarCraft 2. It's hard to take that fourth base for anybody. Terran normally going to take it in the center with the planetary. Zerg, on the other hand, they either have to take it far away, or they can take it in the center and try to hold, but that's pretty difficult.
Yeah, absolutely. So, again, interesting situation. The longer the game goes on, similar to the first map that we saw, the longer the game goes on, the harder it gets for the Zerg. It just becomes more and more of a mess. At the same time, though, if the Zerg can beat back the Terran with a nice little push here, or like denying the Terran's push, excuse me, what can he do? Well, then he can start expanding all over the map here and here, expanding the creep. And if Terran doesn't get that good push, and you know, for Terran sometimes it is all about that one big push, then he's going to be in a lot of trouble. So it's all about Terran having the right timing coming out here.
That's right, Tasteless. Well, MVP is actually hiding his first barracks, doing a little Macarax right behind his minerals. And that's just to trick out VortiX a little bit. He knows he drones scouts, and in fact, he already has found it. So it didn't actually end up doing anything, but this was like just a false information plant, just to make VortiX scared, maybe make his pool a bit quicker. And to be honest, his pool is pretty quick. So he may have skipped one more drone that he could have made or something like that. Any little thing, though, that MVP can do to get ahead is good at this point.
And, you know, MVP is sort of well known for this. He was, obviously, Maka was the first guy to do it, but he was one of the first players to really utilize this all the time. And even if you know MVP's doing it, you got to check, which is a little bit time lost scouting.
Indeed it is. Well, his drone's going to escape out of there before the barracks does go back up to the wall. MVP, is he going to grab a couple more gases, or is he going to do something like another command center? His minerals are starting to get really, really high. It looks like he's actually going to go for a triple command.
Yeah, it looks like that's going to be the case, and that makes sense. There's no real point in MVP actually investing, you know, into any kind of early aggression here. It's just you're too far away. It's probably not going to work.
Well, I got to say, that last game, VortiX defended better than in any other game yesterday. So that's something to take into consideration. Maybe MVP's decided, you know, he defended that well. Okay, maybe he was just having an off day in the early game yesterday. So going into that triple command center, what is next? Probably still Hellions, maybe or maybe not Banshees, and definitely a couple eBays because he's going to the long game.
Right, exactly. He wants to upgrade. Important to note, is there only two in here? Oh, I'm sorry, there's actually three. Occasionally we see players put two workers into the refinery or the extractor or the assimilator, which is pretty interesting because it can actually change the number of, you know, the amount that you're actually at that time. And, you know, at this level of play, that's how good these guys actually are. They will make minor adjustments like that, minor tweaks into their income.
Indeed they will. Well, we do have the reactor and the factory on the way. VortiX stopping on 4 queens, as he always tends to do, grabbing those double gases at the same time as always for that quick Zergling speed. And MVP, you know, his Hellions are going to come out a little bit later. And if VortiX can actually see that that's the case, if he feels that, oh, these are slightly slower than I'm used to, then he should know that there's another command center in there and that he can take greater liberties in his expanding and his droning.
I got a question for you, actually.
Yes.
And do you think it's better to put the command center here or to put it here?
I like it there. I do, because then you can float it quicker.
Because I was wondering if he didn't float it, then you could actually get out more SCVs to the minerals a little bit more quickly.
Well, this is really interesting. MVP actually taking that third right away. And most of the time, we actually see Terran just sit there, but the Overlord is coming as well. So he's still, wow, he actually dodged that Overlord and he's expanding. VortiX at this moment should not have any idea about that command center.
Well, he may be wondering why it looks like the barracks seem to be a little bit late.
Yeah.
But that's actually a pretty tough read there.
It is. MVP, though, having his third base up mining before VortiX's third hatchery is even done, that's a great spot to be in.
Yeah, it really is. All right, so the Hellions coming out here. Got to get a little bit of map control. And let's see here. Over here at the ramp now, he's going to make a little wall here. This is actually a little bit trickier to wall off, so he's got to be careful the Hellions don't just slip through.
Nice little wall for the time being. But MVP right now, he's just got 4 Hellions. He's not even making anymore. He's spending all his money upgrading and getting those SCVs.
You know, one of the things that's interesting about the Hellion opening that we're seeing here that's so popular is you can stop at any point in time. Sometimes we see players just get 2.
Yeah.
And they switch right into siege tanks.
And that's kind of what he's doing here. So this might throw VortiX off. He's so used to these Korean Terrans going mass Hellion against him. And in fact, he's making a lot of Lings right now, Tesa. So I think he wants to catch those Hellions and actually destroy them.
And that should be pretty effective here if they're out of position. We got a bunch of Hellions just grouped up over here. And, you know, if he loses those Hellions, here's the problem is that he doesn't have any way of, you know, seeing when the army's coming here at the watchtower. And the reason why that's scary is, let's say you see a bunch of Banelings coming, well, then you want to spread out your army. If you see a bunch of, let's say, Zerglings coming, you want to bunch together your army and put them in a corner. So that could be pretty bad.
Oh, very true. Well, we do have that third base ready. No drones there quite yet. And in fact, at this point, 50 drones against 53 SCVs. In fact, he's making more, so he will go up above. But MVP's income is like out of control. It's much more than VortiX's right now.
All right, so he's going to be droning up for a little bit here. The Spire is halfway done. And, you know, when the Spire comes out, well, I should say when the Mutalisks come out, when the Spire finishes, that's the moment where the Terran can no longer really abuse the drops the same way. Because if you get caught off guard here, and speaking of which the drops are about to start, let's say the Mutalisks pop out and they intercept this drop, well, then the Terran's incredibly behind.
Yeah, you can't be losing 20 supply of units at that point in the game. So he has to be careful at that point. We do have VortiX actually sending a drone up, which will see those medevacs. But did VortiX actually see it? His units, oh, there we go. He did, in fact, see. He's running his units back up.
All right, now he's going to unload over here, taking out the Overlord. He scans. He may just stim in here, try to kill the Queen. That's usually the most common unit sniped here. And he does. He'll probably pick up here. And very nice. Only losing 1 Marine.
Very much worth it for an Overlord and a Queen. And now he's going to be able to kill off this attempted 4th base 100%. So MVP's drops so far have been very effective, but he has to be careful. As you said, Taste, those Mutas are going to be coming. 10 Mutas are about to finish. And with Ling Baneling Muta, he can easily clean up those medevacs if they're still out on the map.
Okay, here come the medevacs now. Now, he actually could snipe some Mutas here if they try to come in here and intercept. The next Queen does not go down yet.
And, in fact, he's going to catch those medevacs. I'm surprised he even lifted up at this point. Trying to get over here, but they are just going to be sniped so easily.
And see, this is what I was talking about. You bring out that many Marines in the medevacs, and you lose them, well, then your push is going to be a lot weaker. And remember, it's the 4th base that's the hardest base for Zerg to secure on this map. So if you lose, you know, those medevacs like he just did, well, then VortiX is going to have an easier time acquiring that base. And, you know, it can go into the late game, and maybe Zerg can eke out a win.
That's right. Well, right now he's getting his infestation pit, making another hatchery in the center, and he just made a ton of Zerglings. So if MVP overcommits somewhere, he can definitely kill the army off.
All right, he's going to try to surround this, and the Mutas come in here. Actually, I'm so surprised MVP got away there. I was positive he was going to get trapped. Very nicely done by MVP.
Yeah, that was quite close. Now, we do have 2-2 for both players on the way. Going to finish approximately the same time, and VortiX already getting his hive up.
All right, as you can see, Artosa said, yeah, the hive is on the way. Okay, hold on a second. What do you think about this, Artosa? You want to expand here? If you were in his position, would you do this? Or would you expand somewhere like over here again?
Well, you know, it's an interesting one this time because he's overmade units. He doesn't actually need to have these many units out right now. So I think what he's doing is expanding there and saying, all right, MVP, come on out. And he wants to crush the army if it occurs. So we'll see if that works out. It's always a gamble, though, taking that base in the center.
All right, we're going to see if he can do it. It's about time for the Terran to push, and we know that he's actually also going to claim this location over here. A little bit of creep, that's going to be annoying for him. The Zerg does have the high ground. And he's starting to edge in here. Note he sieges preemptively. That's very smart. And now here comes the. I was going to say, here comes from VortiX. He backs off.
Does lose a lot of Zerglings there.
Yeah, when you're Zerg in this position, you just do not want to engage. If you have this many Banelings, you do not want to engage when the siege tanks are in siege mode.
That's right, but he may have no choice eventually. Ooh, losing a few more units there too. He cannot be losing extra units, especially when he's only at 168 against 188 supply.
And we got a drop coming in over here. That might pull back the entire army. Sometimes that works. Up. Fungal comes in here now too. Now note, he wants to land this, but there's just enough creep that he can't quite do it yet. Meanwhile, the drop over here doing a ton of damage.
That's right, he is bringing this Infestor and will be able to clean this up with Zerglings. So that's good to finally kill that drop off. But VortiX is way down in supply. Now, we've seen him down in supply and win games, specifically even on this map. So do not lose hope yet, but MVP is looking so strong with 2-2 about to finish. He is pushing out towards his fourth.
All right, this is going to be dangerous. This is exactly what I was talking about. Terran gets the high ground here. It's just so bad, but here comes the battle now.
Oh, the Banelings rolling in. A ton of Zerglings as well. Beautiful fungal growth, and the Banelings connecting with Marines for the most part. The Muta is going to clean up, and everything for MVP has died.
Oh, my God. Brilliant right there. I actually didn't think it was going to go that well for him. Now he's going for a planetary, so he has to cancel that if he wants to lift. But even then, it looks like this command center is going to go down no matter what.
And in fact, he does kill it off, just sacrificing his lings so his mutas had that time. Wow, great play by VortiX, and now he has ultras on the way.
Yeah, and the ultras, that might make it almost impossible. I do, though, feel like sometimes Broodlord's actually a better choice on this map just because of the high ground, and the Terran's going to expand over here. Also, by the way, for the Terran, after the fourth base on this map, it's pretty hard to actually hold the fifth, because they're so spread out. Generally, Terran want their bases to be all, all put together.
Well, right now, VortiX, his army's getting pretty scary. He is still down in supply, but this is a pretty neat army. You know, he's got the mutas to help out targeting siege tanks and taking down medevacs. He's got the ultras for the brute power. He's got the Banelings with the infestors to hold Marines still. It's going to be very interesting the next time these two engage each other.
All right. He's got to be careful. The ultras have to be hit first by the tanks. Then the Banelings come in here. Is he going to wipe out MVP, or is MVP going to hold?
Well, the ultras actually hitting some of the tanks on the side. The Banelings connecting for the most part with Marines, which is really great for him. But a lot of Marauders going up and will chase him back.
If you notice, actually, I think, if I remember right, I believe the MVP was maxed out before that battle, and VortiX was at 160 or something.
Yeah,
so looks like he was probably going to lose that anyways. VortiX just needs to hold this spot here. Let's check the minerals now. All right, almost up. Oh, actually, let's not check the minerals. Let's check this drop over here.
The drop will be cleaned up. Not too much killed there. And at this point, VortiX in a lot of trouble. He's losing his fourth base, as we see here. MVP has taken the high ground. He's going to secure his fourth base at this moment. He even has a sensor tower. So VortiX is going to have like maybe one more good attack left in him. But will that attack even be able to clear the center?
All right, so the Hellions now moving back here. And, I got to say, I think this is going to be a slow death for VortiX. I'm looking for a way that he can get out of this position. And I don't know if I really see it. He's about 50 supply behind. And Terran has the high ground with the siege tanks in siege mode. And while he controls the high ground, he can also defend what is going to be a planetary in a minute. So, I mean, maybe he could make a Nidus or something.
Sure, yeah. I mean, he needs to try something a little bit out there if he wants to win this, but he's actually just going to go for it. Tasteless, the Ultra's going in the front to take all the damage. Banelings are rolling in right now, but there are a lot of Marauders, so they are not doing very much at all.
All right, he's coming in here, but I think this is the beginning of the end, and MVP landing the mules. Common MVP diss here.
And at this point,
that's going to be it. GG.
That is
wow.
it. MVP playing just so well against VortiX. VortiX taking a few big battles, but not ever able to secure his fourth base. The problem with Antigua Shipyard for Zerg vs. Terran.
Yeah, that match played out exactly, how we predicted that map kind of functions in that matchup. So VortiX having a hard time here. I do think he can possibly come back, but it's going to be tough. MVP has such an insane amount of experience. I'm under the impression he really doesn't get nervous or think even that much before going into a major match, where I feel like VortiX, and it's understandable. I mean, he's a younger guy, who just has less stage experience. That's going to be a tougher situation.
This would absolutely be a career-making win. To kill, I mean, 4GG and Supernova, it's huge. People are going to have their eyes on him, but if you kill MVP as well and make it to the finals, and that's a foreigner-on-foreigner final, so everyone's going to remember that tournament. So, you know, there is so much pressure here on VortiX, whereas MVP, he probably just thinks, oh, I'm going to win this tournament.
It's just another tournament for me. I've won so many, I've lost count.